One amp to rule them all. One amp to find them. One amp to bring them all. And in the darkness, rock them.
Oh yeah, I just went all Lord of the Rings on you. This really is the Frodo Baggins of the amp world, in my opinion. It's a tiny little box, but it packs an awfully great punch. And look, it's tiny. It literally is tiny. Look, it's not much bigger than my pick. Oh, obviously it is. Anyways, the BluGuitar AMP1, designed by guitarist Thomas Blug, who is an incredible guitar player, but also a real innovator. He worked with Hughes and Kettner's for years, I think like 20 years or something, you know, developing the amps and, you know, the Triamp and the all the other amps that they do. I don't know too much about their amps, but they are cool. He helped to shape the designs and the sounds and stuff. And then a few years ago, he developed the BluGuitar AMP1, which is a 100-watt amp. Now, I've had this for 2 years. You guys who've been following me on my channel, thank you so much, by the way, for following all this time. You've seen this in action numerous times. I have done hundreds and hundreds of videos with this incredible piece of gear. This is by far one of my favorite amplifiers that I've ever owned, because you know what, it's so portable, so packed with features, and I've been able to, you know, travel around the world with this, put it in my suitcase and basically get to my destination and have my sound. I have it in the studio all the time. It's a Class D power amp, so it means it doesn't need to have a load on it, which means that I can use direct out and record it when I want to kind of, you know, blow my ears out, which I did almost do a few months ago. Then I can plug it into a cab and dime it, and honestly, it is ridiculously loud. Look, check this out. Check this little clip out, which I did in January, yeah, before I went to NAMM. And this has traveled to NAMM with me twice now. Yeah. Anyway, just check this clip out. This is how loud it is. Teensy wincy cab. I've got my cab in the room over there. I'm actually standing in my hallway at the moment. It's probably, I don't know, 20 feet away, 30 feet away. You can't hear anything from the AMP1 right now because it has a built-in noise gate. So it's nice and quiet. But if I turn up my guitar volume, and just to let you know, the volume's at 5 at the moment. It is ferociously loud, and it's probably going to clip on the camera as well. But I'm just going to give you a blast of a couple of chords just to show you just how incredibly loud this amp is. Oh my god, ouch! This is literally hurting my ears, and the cab is over there. You can probably hear how loud it is. Wow. And my ears are ringing, and that's all I'm going to give you because it is way loud. And I don't want my neighbours complaining. Yeah. That's crazy, man. Good job, Thomas Blug. You've done a brilliant job with this amp, and it sounds so great, even at that volume. And that's at 5, guys. You know, it goes up to 10. It goes up to 10. Anyways, I'm going to go turn this off before it kind of, you know, just blows my house up. Ouch! Yeah, it did hurt my ears. Honestly, I was like 30 feet away, and, you know, I cranked this and... Anyways, as you heard from the track that I just did at the beginning, which was all done with this and its sidekick, which is the BluGuitar BluBox, which is a cab simulator. It's an extension to this, and they work both hand in hand. So, you know, if this is the Frodo Baggins, this is the Samwise Gamgees. They just work really well together. This is really well judged as well because Thomas actually used his own cabs to get the impulse responses which are built into this. I'll tell you about this in a second, but I want to tell you all about the amplifier first. This is actually a 4-channel amp, and it basically has a clean channel, a vintage, a classic, and a modern channel on it. So the clean channel is kind of a Fender based sound, you know, that old school kind of Fender type thing, and it works great. It's so cool. It just has that single volume control and a shared 3-band EQ, a reverb as well if you want it, which again, the reverb is excellent because you know what, you can put it on 10 and it's fine. It's not just going to sound like a complete washout. It's really well judged. I like the reverb sound on this. Anyways, a 3-band EQ and literally just the volume. So, you know, if you want a clean sound, then leave it on 2 or 3. If you want to crank it a bit, then it's going to start overdriving. And as you saw from the little subtitles that I put on the video, I actually used this for some of the lead sounds. It's got that much gain in it, and it sounded just fantastic. Moving on to the vintage channel, that's kind of old school, you know, JTM 45 plexi-ish type of sound. Wonderful, wonderful sound, and Thomas is known for using his Marshalls and Strats and stuff, and you know, he basically has JTM 45s from back in the day and plexis and stuff, you know, really old ones. So that was his reference point to getting these tones. And you know, when you play these and just hear the sound and actually feel it under your fingers, it does feel like you're playing an old school amp. And it's strange because you're looking at this tiny little box and getting that sound. It's huge, it's humongous, and yeah, you guys know I love it. You already know that I love this amplifier. Alright, moving on to classic. this is my favorite channel on this amplifier, because this is kind of, you know, getting into kind of JCM 800, more kind of a modern sound, Marshall-y type of territory. I've used this channel for a lot of things, and it sounds phenomenal. I think it's really great. And then you have a modern channel as well, which is getting more into the Mesa Boogie Soldano-ish type of tones as well. It's a little bit more compressed. I use this one the least often because kind of, you know, I get most of my gain out of the classic channel anyways, and it's got that mid-rangey type of sound which I really love. So on the overdrive channels, you have a gain control, which is very responsive. So if you do put it down, then it's going to clean up the amp, and if you kind of, you know, dime it, then you're going to get tons of overdrive. You have a master volume to balance it out with a clean channel as well. The shared 3-band EQ, which is a treble, a middle, and a bass control. And the reverb is also on these channels as well. You can use the reverb as well. The great thing about this little amp also is that, although it's like a solid state power amp, it does have a nano tube in there. It literally, I don't know if my camera is going to focus in on that. If it does, anyways, it's got a nano tube in there, which is in the power section of the amplifier. Now this is a really genius thing to do, because then you get the saturation from the power amp as you turn up the volume, and you can hear it, you can feel it. It feels like just a regular tube amp, all analog circuitry in there. So it feels like, you know, a proper amp. It doesn't feel like I'm playing you know, an amp with software in it. I do have a Marshall Code 25 amp, which is exactly that. It's an amplifier which is run on software, and it's great. I love playing it, great sounds, but it feels different to play. This one just feels like a regular kind of, you know, tube head. If I didn't know better, if it was behind a curtain, it would be like, yeah, all right, I'm plugged into a tube head. So yeah, it's that good. 3 switches on the front. The first one is actually the channel switch, so it switches between either the clean channel or one of the overdrive channels, which you can preset as to, you know, where you want it and stuff. The middle button is actually a boost button. I have this engaged all the time because I just like the sound of the amp with the boost on all the time. You can use it for a volume hike as well. And the third button is actually to turn on and off the reverb control. Now these can be made programmable as well, so you can have 3 channels programmed. So clean channel with the reverb, then the middle channel you can, you know, set up, let's say with the vintage and crunch type tone without the reverb if you want, and then you can program maybe the third one to be the lead channel with, you know, on the classic channel or the modern with the reverb on, etc. And you know, it doesn't save the EQ controls, I don't think, but it will, you know, give you 3 different channels at your feet. So you can actually have this on your pedal board. You can actually just have it down there and stomp on it. You've already got your switching system built into the amplifier. Alrighty. The really cool thing about this is the side controls as well. These side controls actually allow you to tailor each of the channels. So the actual tone of the channel, and on the classic channel you also get the volumes. So you can actually match up the volume of the amplifier or the individual amplifiers, the vintage, classic or modern, with the clean channel as well, so that when you hit it, you know, you're not just getting a massive boost in volume, and you know, the clean channel is kind of very quiet and stuff like that. The tone control adjustments here actually change the voicing of the amplifier, and it's quite, you know, it's quite noticeable. But it does affect the high end, and you know, you can tailor it so that you have the amplifier sounding exactly the way you want it, rather than just being, you know, one type of amplifier. So it changes that kind of basic EQ curve in each of the amplifiers, and I have it set to exactly where I want. And then you have the boost control, which I have on 10 all the time. Just because I like the boost control on tin. In fact, you know, Thomas and I are friends. We have been for a few years now. And when I spoke to him about the boost control, he said to me, "Where do you have it set?" And I said, "Usually I think it's maximum. I just have it timed." He said, "That's exactly where I use it." So that's the way to do it, man. Alrighty, and then you also have the switches down here for parallel or series effects loop, so you can choose how you want to run the effects loop, and also a noise gate which is built in, and this noise gate is fantastic. I usually have it set to the soft mode, which just cuts off all of the sound. Even when I was running at that super high volume, which you saw a little bit earlier, I had the noise gate on, so when I stopped playing, it actually went quiet. I didn't just have coming from the speaker cab like 30 feet away. Just literally cut it off. Now you can also set it to metal mode. Metal! Yeah! And this tightens up the response as well, so you can, when you're doing the type of stuff, it basically chops off the tail really sharply so that it's nice and quiet and you can get that really rhythmic thing going on. Now, what I have noticed about the noise gate is it works great with the channels on the amplifier itself, but when I use like pedals in front of it, overdrive pedal, which I'm apparently famous for doing. I usually run my Friedman pedals, my you know, BOD, or my Friedman Dirty Shirley pedal in front of this amplifier, and it did actually inspire something which you'll see it in some time to come. But basically when I run those, then the noise gate doesn't seem to kick in the same way. But hey, you know, it's still a very, very quiet unit. When I use them in combination, then you know, I don't have noise issues anyway, so I don't worry about it too much. So on the back, packed with features again. This one is the most important one. It's the where you plug in the power. It's so important. Anyways, this thing you see on the what side of the amp is that? Right hand side, left hand? I can't remember. Anyways, this is actually a fan because there's a cooling fan inside which keeps everything under control, and it's fantastic. So you have an input, the FX loop, a record out, which is actually an emulated record out with cab simulation already on it. Now, I actually use this in combination with the software by Two Notes, which is called Wall Sound. And I've been using it like that for years. Even though it's cabin to cab, it still sounds absolutely phenomenal. Then we have an 8 ohms and 16 ohm speaker output. This is what goes into the BluBox, and then you know, because it's a Class D power amp, you don't need a load on it, which means you can just run it straight into that. It's not going to blow up any tubes or transformers or anything like that. And then at the end here we have a remote or MIDI 1 control. Now you can plug in an extension into that via a special cable you can get from BluGuitar, and it will essentially give you a remote control for the unit as well. And it's expandable. There is like a whole kind of switching unit that you can buy, which I don't have. But you can buy that and you know, have lots of other options, including an attenuator which is actually built into the switching unit, and then you can put a looper unit into that switching unit, which actually turns on different loops according to which channel you pick as well. So you can actually have like a delay running on the lead channel, and like a chorus running on one of the clean channels, etc, etc. So really cool concept. One thing I wanted to mention was the shape of it. Now, there's a special reason why there's this little dip here. It's so that when you put it on top of an amplifier, where the handle is, the handle can go under there. You know, just a little design feature, but it is really well thought out. Now, I've got a couple of magnets on the back as well, which hold it onto my my pedal board. And when I built up my pedal board to go to NAMM a couple of years ago, I put those on, and it did a great job. Basically, it was fantastic taking it over. It's such a great little thing to be able to do, you know, just put my gear that I use every day, which I'm really familiar with, into my suitcase, arrive at a destination, and then I've got my sound. Like I said, I use this with pedals, and it takes pedals really, really, really well. Especially my Friedman pedals, and that's the sound that I've been using for forever and a day now, since I got my Friedman BEOD, which would have been September 2016. Yeah, around then, about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. Oh, more than a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. So this is a great platform for pedals as well. So if you did want to run your favorite, distortion pedal or amp, simulation pedal, preamp pedal, etc., etc., in front of this, then it does an incredible job as well. Here is how it sounds with the Friedman pedals. You guys have been following my channel, know how it sounds already, but I'm going to play it for you anyway. Here we go. Now do you get it? Now do you get why I love little Frodo Baggins so much? Such an awesome little amp, and you know what? This video has been long overdue. But I'm glad I did it now, because I am able to show you all of the features of the amplifier. I obviously haven't done the twiddly knob thing and stuff. There are lots of videos out there which you can go and watch, where you can see all of the millions of permutations of the different EQs and how much overdrive it has, etc., etc. So you can go check those out as well. Now, I used it in combination with the BluBox as well. Now, I bought the BluBox because it's blue, and it was made by BluGuitar. Blue. I'd actually heard this at Music China when Thomas was actually just doing the final fine tuning in 2016. Did I play that? Yeah, it was 2016. And it sounded amazing, absolutely phenomenal little box. So when it came out, I purchased one, and it's done a great job. You heard the various cabs which are programmed into this. Now this is actually quite a simple unit. It literally has the 16 odd cabs, I think it is, on there. Let's see, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I got it right. I remembered right. Yay! It's 16 cabs on there. It's just got the 16 cabs, and then you've got a control to place the mic, either near the edge of the cone, which is going to give you a darker darker tone, or nearer to the center of the speaker, so you get a brighter tone. And it's very reactive, so as I was actually recording the video, I was actually changing the position of this according to the tone that I wanted. A three-way switch here in the middle for high, medium and low, depending on how much input's going into there. So if you're running the amp at low volume, then you can put it on high, and there's an LED here to show you if it's clipping or not, or if it's in the right zone. If it's in the green stroke yellow, then you're fine. Now this is not a load box, so you can't just plug this into your regular tube amp and run it. You need a load box to connect to this through the speaker through. So just be aware of that. This is not a load box in itself. It's got a line in, so you can plug pedals and other preamps directly into this as well if you want to run it that way. The speaker in is on the side here, and then you've got a speaker through as well, so you can run the speaker in, run the output from this into, let's say, a PA or front of house or something, and still have a cab behind you which is actually doing its thing, which is fantastic. Line out, and then you've got the XLR out as well on the side, and a ground lift switch. So really simple, and this works on like 9-volt power as well, so I use my battery pack to control or power this up. So there you go, guys. It's just a really incredible combination. Thank you, Thomas, for creating this. I have said that to him in person numerous times because I do love this. Now there is a new edition of this coming out at some point called the Mercury edition, so look out for that. It's an updated version of this amp. But if you want to check out the BluGuitar amp in the meantime, go and check out this version, because honestly this has been really cool. I have loved using it for the last couple of years, and you guys have been seeing me use it over and over and over and over and over and over, and you will continue to see me using it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah! Lord of the Rings styly. The one, my precious. Here are the isolated tracks. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, you can subscribe to the channel if you like what you see, and I shall see you again really soon for another video. See you later, guys. Isolated tracks. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah! My precious.